Let's get into it, shall we? Bears lost 21-16. How ugly, Mike, was this game for both teams? I mean, it's just a. Get into it.
It was some of the sloppiest football I've ever seen in my life. I mean, you had a combined 5 turnovers. Anthony Richardson was throwing the ball all over the yard. He was throwing it everywhere but his receiver's hands. Bears' offensive line was really bad. It was just sloppy football. It was the definition of sloppy. There was bad red zone play. I mean, there was, again, inaccuracies from both quarterbacks. So it was a really, really ugly football game. And, you know, you're going to have games like this, and you're going to play teams that play like this. You really hope that you can win the ugly ones, because sometimes even an ugly win, you know, you still feel good at the end of the day. But, man, they looked uglier than the Colts on this day, which was a sad sight to see. You know, we went up against the worst rushing defense in the NFL and couldn't do anything. You know, Caleb, for all intents and purposes, had the best day of his career, but still threw 2 interceptions, got strip sacked. It was ugly. It was ugly. There's really no other way to put it. It was a very bad day.
Yeah, no, it was a very bad day, as Stephen A. Smith would say. And honestly, you know, it was disappointing. I thought it was one of those games that we could win. Like, hey, you know, the Colts were 0-2. You know, they already got smacked around by the Packers, and then to just come in the game and just, I mean, we for the first 2 quarters of this game we didn't score at all.
Almost scored on that Hail Mary, which was kind of nuts.
The 1 yard, with time expired, like that was like a Madden play. But I agree with you. I think Caleb had, you know, he performed even better, right? 33-52, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, quarterback rating of 35.6, which that'll happen when your receivers aren't catching or you overthrow the ball. But I just felt like we made a lot of mistakes. And just like I said in the first episode, this should have been a game that we obviously should have won, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, talking about offensive struggles, I looked this up yesterday. Before the Colts game, we only had 1 offensive touchdown in 11 NFL quarters. I mean, that's bad. That's bad, right? Bad. And obviously, you know, as Bears fans, we can point the fingers to maybe one person or a lot of people. But the biggest problem is that we have to improve our offense some way. Or somehow. But, Mike, talk about the inability to stop the run game. I mean, Anthony Richardson didn't even have a touchdown, and they still won the game without him.
Yeah, no, you mentioned it in the last week's episode about Jonathan Taylor. He torched us, you know, 23 carries, 110 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had a great day. The other thing that I thought was very interesting about the Bears is statistically they won a lot of categories. They had more yards, 395 to 306. They had more first downs. They almost doubled the first downs. They had 26 first downs in comparison to their 15. We possessed the ball for over 35 minutes in this game, and we still lost. I mean, it was just ugly. Jonathan Taylor, like I said, had a really, really good day. Anthony Richardson did not, which, again, should have allowed the Bears a chance to win this game. He was incredibly inaccurate. He absolutely gifted the Bears 2 interceptions on what were cartoonish level throws, to be completely honest with you. But you're right. The Colts' run game, they did their job. They came to play. The Bears, you know, that was the big contrast in this game was the running games between the teams. Our leading rusher had 30 yards. Their leading rusher had 110 yards and 2 touchdowns. Yeah. So, you know, the Bears' rushing defense needs to step up. I also understand, though, you know, you gave the Colts 3 extra possessions with the turnovers. Yeah. The defense, they can't do everything. Only 21 points, realistically, is not a bad day at the office. But man, I mean, you know, Jonathan Taylor, when he had that 29-yard touchdown run, you know, in the third quarter, it felt like that was the game. It really did. And, you know, the Bears made it interesting towards the end. You know, they got down the field and scored that touchdown at the end of the game. But it really did feel like that 29-yard touchdown run ended the game. Yeah. And that the Bears offensively weren't going to be able to do enough to come back. And it's sad. And it really is sad, you know, because I thought there were good things that happened in this game, but again, we just keep shooting ourselves in the foot. We have certain things that just don't go our way. Shane Waldron is still our offense coordinator, and when that's the case,
unfortunately,
I mean, could we get into Shane Waldron? I feel like this is going to be a weekly rant at this point.
I'll pass the ball to you, man. Get
Shane Waldron, just his inability to protect Caleb schematically, his inability to be creative on offense in the red zone. third downs, the Bears were not very good either. So, when you have a sequence at the goal line, he went run up the middle to our third string running back, run up the middle again, and then he ran a speed option.
Oh my
like
God.
It's like we're playing at Army or something. Like what is this? what are we? Like, we're not running the triple option. Like, this isn't what we do. That sequence of play calling lost the Bears essentially 7 points.
Yeah.
We lost by 5.
Yeah.
What does that tell you? And I know, you can't do it perfectly, whatever. That's not always how it lines up. But when you have a quarterback like Caleb Williams, who is a great athlete, he's very creative, in and out of the pocket. You have good receivers. Cole Kmet was actually involved in this game, which was great.
Yeah.
Why didn't you throw the ball even once? I don't get it. I don't get it. Let Caleb Williams at least send him out on a naked boot or something and let him, scramble with his legs and make a play. Run up the middle, and and your offensive line was getting no push.
No.
I mean, it was comical. I don't know if you saw the screenshot, Justin. On the speed option, all 4 of our offensive linemen were on the ground like that.
Yeah.
And DeAndre Swift had no shot on that play.
No.
So it was an embarrassing game plan from Shane Waldron. It was embarrassing in the big moments. It was just embarrassing all around. And that's the thing that we talk about, where Caleb is only going to be as good as his supporting cast lets him be. Well, part of his supporting cast is Shane Waldron. And Shane Waldron right now is, I think, holding him back from being truly great. Obviously, he needs to clean up some of the turnovers. The one interception was bad.
Yeah.
I thought the second interception was kind of fluky, bounced off of Rome's chest.
Yeah.
Whatever. And then the strip sack, I don't think was his fault. But you saw a lot of the signs of Caleb Williams. But the problem is the offense isn't complete right now.
No.
We have no running game. Absolutely zero, right? So we can't run the ball. And then, Caleb is still growing and he's still maturing as a quarterback. Thought he took big steps, but, right now he's got no protection. So it's just a huge struggle in offense, and it just seems like there's no light at the end of the tunnel, and it's really unfortunate at this point.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Mike. I just, I think there was something that was I was reading as I was doing my research for the show that Caleb didn't even know he threw 52 passes. Like, he was like, I threw 52 passes. He was shocked.
Yeah.
And obviously with this performance, Caleb also said, I'm going to do anything to help us win, right?
Yeah.
But it should not take that much unless it was like an overtime game and it was just, he was just putting on a show. But this is the Indianapolis Colts. They don't need that much to win against them. It's not like Peyton Manning's back in there playing.
Right, this isn't 2004.
Right?
Yeah.
So, I agree with you. DeAndre Swift, golly, 13 carries, 20 yards, an average of 1.5 yards per rush. That is terrible. Obviously, the O-line is at fault for that. They need better pass blocking to let him, let Swift be able to run through. But definitely running it up the middle 20,000 times doesn't help either.
No. Our interior offensive line right now is terrible. Our center's bad. Tevin Jenkins is okay. But yesterday, they benched Nate Davis, who we were critical of last week. They benched Nate Davis for Matt Pryor. He wasn't much better. The strength of this offensive line, I would say, is the tackles. Braxton Jones and Darnell Wright. They have the most potential to be good. But even they're getting blown off the ball and getting a free shot at Caleb.
Yeah.
Right? They're giving up those free shots. So I don't know, man. And I don't want to say that I'm upset that Caleb Williams got 52 passes, but there's a reason, that a lot of times when you throw 52 passes, you don't win the game. Yeah. I think if you throw 52 passes, you're either having a great day or you're having a bad day.
Yeah.
Because you're either absolutely killing them or you're, struggling to come from behind and you're just throwing the entire second half, which is what basically the Bears did. It's just abysmal right now. The offense has no identity. And again, when your offense relies on a rookie quarterback in their third game throwing more than 50 times, you set yourself up for failure.
You do.
It's just more hits on Caleb. It's more opportunities for stoppages of the clock, for more turnovers. I don't want Caleb throwing 52 times every game. Although I do like that he threw for 363 yards. It helps the passing yards a little bit, and those 2 touchdowns were nice as well.
Yeah.
But no, I don't want that to continue. I want some semblance of a running game. And again, it's just so sad because we're going up against a Colts rushing defense without DeForest Buckner.
Yes.
They had been getting slashed on the run the last two games. Again, Joe Mixon looked like Barry Sanders, and then Josh Jacobs looked like Jim Brown or Emmitt Smith or something. Yeah. It was like insane. And we're like, oh my gosh, we actually have a chance to run, and we didn't have anything going on the ground. So it was incredibly disappointing.
No, it was, and one more thing that I researched about Williams, he broke the Bears' single game passing yardage record, which
take
is
that, Justin Fields.
Yeah, take that.
Take that, Justin Fields.
And has thrown in more yards than Justin Fields ever has in a game. So I mean, yes, there are some benefits to this somewhat abysmal performance, right? I mean, Williams had a 44-yarder to DJ Moore in the second quarter. Obviously, if maybe. If the gravity was just a little bit fair,
right.
he could have landed into
which that was a great throw.
That was a great throw. Yeah.
I mean, I know Hail Marys are a little bit fluky because of the bounce and whatever, but he put it in a position where one of his guys could make a play on there.
Right.
Obviously, and he obviously enforced the bounce. Like he wanted the ball to bounce that way going into. He knew that was going to happen. But I think the main bright spot, though, speaking of receivers, was Rome Odunze.
Yes.
Rome Odunze finally was a focal point of this offense. He had 6 receptions, 112 yards, and a touchdown. I thought it was cool that they were kind of talking on the broadcast about who was going to get that first.
Yeah.
That first football. It was Rome's first touchdown and Caleb's first touchdown.
Yeah.
I heard the ball went to Rome, so shout out Rome for a great memory. But no, he was involved in this passing game a lot, which I'd love to see. They actually made, I think, a definitive effort to scheme him open, to get the ball to him. Caleb was looking his way. He actually could have had even more yards. They couldn't connect on a couple of those deep passes, which I think Caleb he's getting a little jittery. He just needs the timing needs to be a little bit better. But he's going to hit a couple of those later on in the year, and it's going to be very very fun to watch.
Sure.
But no, Rome Odunze was great. I also thought another bright spot was Cole Kmet.
Yes,
Cole Kmet was finally involved in this offense as well. He caught a touchdown as well on the fourth down. So. The Bears getting their best playmakers involved is a very good thing. This is, in that regard, it's a positive step forward because the Bears do have good skill position players. Cole Kmet is a good tight end. Rome Odunze is a top 10 pick for a reason. Obviously, we know DJ Moore is good as well, and he had a decent day as well. But that was if you're looking for a silver lining, that's it, right? Rome Odunze showed up and showed out. And on a day where Marvin Harrison was great for the Cardinals, Malik Neighbors was great for the Giants, Rome Odunze was great for the Bears, and so it's nice to see that receiver trifecta of the rookies this year. But there's only so much that you can really look into silver linings, though. And as much as I want to gawk over their fantasy numbers, we got to talk about winning games.
Yes.
And right now the Bears, they don't have the formula to winning games.